So red lights on. Ooh, might have been a bit of creeping there, but they're underway now, and it's a good start for the driver on pole position, Jack Dwayne. Jason Pelosi has lost out to Jack Kingsbury at the start of the race, and I think Chris Lawrence as well, as they head up to Rich's corner for the first time. In fact, it's a very good start, isn't it, from Chris Lawrence, because he was level pegging for second into Rich's corner there. They're 3 wide, a bit further back. There's a couple of cars off, spinning onto the grass. In fact, there's 3 cars off. Charles Shelbourne is one of them. Joshua North is another.
The third car was Nick Brady, who's just got his car ready, I think, for this weekend. So that's a shame, but hopefully they're all going to get that going, because they're certainly moving on, which is a bit of good news. But it's Dwayne and Kingsbury, and then it's side by side for third as Justin Griffiths goes right round the outside of Chris Lawrence, the first of the 182s. You mentioned he made a good start there, a bit lighter, which helps him off the line, but now fighting back is Griffiths. But the worst start of all came from Jason Pelosi. He's down there in 5th, but Lawrence isn't giving up on this third just yet. He dives back on the inside of Griffiths. That could be a problem for Pelosi, but Charles Shelbourne, he's not got very much further at all. He's pulled the car off.
Yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully that's in a reasonably safe position and doesn't cause any kind of interruption. But there is the 56 car of Chris Lawrence. Then behind him is number 55, which is Justin Griffiths, who's under pressure from Jason Pelosi, who's trying to make amends from the start. Pelosi was the driver I thought might have just crept a little bit off the line. We've lost 23 as well. Alex Burridge back into the paddock as well. So that's a shame for Alex, who started on row 7 of the grid. But we're watching the cars as they head down the Bentley Straight towards Brundle Nelson. It's Jack Dwayne leading, number 11. Jack Kingsbury second, number 3. Look how Dwayne's trying to break the toe here from the rest of the field. Still, it's the 56 car in third place of Chris Lawrence.
Yeah, that's right, and he's able to go with them in the tow. We've got 5 for the lead, with Justin Griffiths there in 4th position in what may be his last weekend in the championship. He's putting the car up for sale after this weekend, if you're interested, before a project he's putting together for the Hot Hats Championship for hopefully next year. And he has Jason Pelosi chasing him as they go through Corham. And those 5, quite a way ahead of the rest, but they are very evenly matched. How's Tim Bentley getting on, the championship leader? I think he's in this next group, but he lost out there to the 30 car, I think. That's Darren Ransom, who's ahead of Tim Bentley. But for Bentley, he's still second in the 182, the Class A cars, importantly. And he may gain a place as they go up towards Ritchie's, but there's yellows into the corner there. But for some reason, Darren Ransom lost 2 positions down the straight. He fell behind both Tim Bentley and Ollie Wayne before they got to the yellows, which suggests that his straight line speed not what it should be. Into the green zone they come in.
Yeah, Darren Ransom's got a different front end to that car. It's badly beaten up, I think, in qualifying, so he's got a red front on the mainly blue car. As we are watching the battle involving at the moment, number 7, Lewis Richardson there, 31 is just tucked in behind him as well. That's Chris Payton. 47, Ben Swift, who was coming through from the back, and he's made up quite a few places because he was 11th at the end of lap 1. So it's been a good start to the race for him. Behind him is the number 85 car of Alex Kilby as well. But it's Ben Swift keen to make up some more positions and get up inside the top 10. It looks like he might pass the 31 car down into Agostini. He does. Then the next target will be that of the teenager, Lewis Richardson.
And he may do that immediately as he goes up the inside on the exit of the hairpin. And that will be something like 9th position then for Ben Swift, who's having, like I say, a pretty good season. He missed Croft last time out. And a driver who started karting at the age of 8, so a youngster but experienced racing driver, Ben Swift. He's now ahead of Lewis Richardson, then the 19-year-old from Milton Keynes. And he continues on the battle. But Lewis Richardson going well here. He's had, I think, a couple of results in the top 10 this year, but he's well inside it again here at Snetterton. What's happened in the leading pack? Well, Pelosi is ahead of Griffiths, so his comeback is beginning. And Griffiths has fallen away, a little way back, hasn't he, towards Tim Bentley. So the top 4 now getting away. Dwayne, Kingsbury, Lawrence and Pelosi. Jason Pelosi returning to Clio's this season after a season in Porsches last year. Chris Lawrence just ahead of him, going well, looking for his second win in Class B this weekend. He's from Grimsby in Lincolnshire, so not too far away from Snetterton. And he's been car racing for 5 seasons now, the 33-year-old in this ex-Scott Sharp car. He's still there in 3rd overall, but coming under pressure now from Jason Pelosi, the driver from Ongar in Essex. Again, not terribly far away from the circuit.
Still yellows, I think, at Riches. possibly, as they turn their way through there and onto this short straight up towards the Wilson hairpin. It's Dwayne that's still leading. We're going to get the change there for third, are we? Up the inside goes Jason Pelosi ahead of Chris Lawrence. He gets third overall, but of course Lawrence still leading his class, and points are scored within the class, and he is still ahead of Tim Bentley here. Important, and if it stays this way, I think Chris Lawrence would probably take the championship lead away from Tim Bentley with this result.
Pelosi fastest lap, by the way, in 2:19.4. So as he's still in sight of Kingsbury and Dwayne, more progress could come. And he's gained a position at the Wilson hairpin on each of the last 2 laps, so he's going well.
He is, so we'll see if we can bear down on these. We've got 9 minutes or so of the race to go. Jack Kingsbury is his next target, the 28-year-old technician from Hartford. Started racing 6 years ago in the Clios, was always raced in the Clios. And the car prepared by his father, Ricky Kingsbury. And he's going to be next in firing line for Jason Pelosi now. He's up to third. Chris Lawrence is still in fourth place. And then we've got a gap back to the next car, really, which is Griffiths still, I think. Tim Bentley and Ollie Wayne's second and third within the 182 division, Class A. Leaders back down the Bentley straight once again in towards Brundle and Nelson.
Pelosi slowing in?
He is, yes. Chris Lawrence has got back through, and it looks like he's got a problem. Yes, indicated on Jason Pelosi, having got into third place, is out of the race. So that is a drama. Well, drive, it says on the front of the car, drive, it says on the side of the car, and drive is what that car is now doing.
And Jason Pelosi, who missed the 2 races on Sunday at Croft, was saying he couldn't have any more bad results. They were his 2 drop scores, but it's all gone wrong here at Snetterton. But for the lead of the race, Jack Dwayne is under pressure from Jack Kingsbury as they turn their way through the Murray's final corner. In qualifying this morning, Jack Dwayne was over a second quicker than Jack Kingsbury, but in race trim, Kingsbury seems to have a little bit more pace already. Track limit warnings going out. We're not halfway through the race yet, but into Ritchie's. The yellows have been withdrawn, so Kingsbury pulls to the left-hand side of the circuit. That's the outside. He hasn't got enough momentum, though, to get around the outside of Dwayne, though, the leader at this stage. And he's not got to worry about cars behind because there's a big gap to Chris Lawrence, so he's weaving one way or the other. Jack Kingsbury can't find a way through at this stage, but he's very keen to pick up his first win of the season by the looks of things, Ian.
Yeah, seems to be. He's really putting the pressure on, and he has got faster. He's got more experience with these cars. Jack Dwayne, also a newcomer to this class, though, for this season. So they've got a sort of similar amount of experience in these 197s, both having raced 182 successfully in the past. The last time they did identical lap times, 2:19.17 as well. Lap record for these cars are 2:15.81, so a little way outside that at the moment. So these two now 2 seconds or so clear of Chris Lawrence in third place. Justin Griffith still fourth, Tim Bentley fifth, Ollie Wayne is sixth, then Darren Ransom, Ben Swift up to eighth now, then Lewis Richardson and Alex Kilby rounding out the top 10, but this battle for the lead goes on. Yeah,
it's really close, isn't it? Really great stuff, this. Jack Dwayne then continues to lead the way. The last 2 championships he took in the 182s, but having a go at the 197s now, and he's got a good championship lead over Jack Kingsbury within that class. 28 points the gap coming into this weekend. Dwayne's had 3 wins, a second, a couple of third, where Jack Kingsbury's only had a couple of seconds. He'd been his only podiums within Class B this year, but this is going much better this weekend at Snetterton. He's right on the tail of race leader Jack Dwayne. Behind Chris Lawrence, he leads Class A. He's there in third, ahead of Justin Griffiths, then Tim Bentley, Ollie Wayne and Darren Ransom. And Ben Swift up to 8th now, the driver who started from near the back of the pack, who's progressed pretty well.
Paul Clark in the green car you could see going through shot there, number 82. He's in 13th. Double duty for him because he's also out in the low costs as well during the course of this weekend. He's got 1 race off and then he'll be back out in the car for the low costs shortly. As we wait for the leaders to come up and over the line to complete lap number 4. Hiding behind the black and white driving standards flag there, Jack Dwayne and Jack Kingsbury. That time through, Dwayne did a 2:20.01. Kingsbury was 11/100th of a second slower, so the gap went out to 37/100th of a second over the line, but it seems to have come back down again now, Josh.
Kingsbury quick through Ritchie's, a very quick corner. Not quite flat out, I don't think, in these cars, but very near to it. Top gear, and therefore Kingsbury was shown to be a bit quicker through the corner, but perhaps Jack Dwayne had a better exit, had a better run through Wilson. His lead margin just extending a touch on the last corner or so. They're nearly 3 seconds ahead of Chris Lawrence now, who's being recaught by Justin Griffiths, who's there in 4th spot, and Tim Bentley trying to go with him. But very interesting how this weekend at Snetterton, after that failure Tim Bentley had in the 3rd race at Croft, doesn't have the pace he had in those early races in the season.
No, he doesn't. It's definitely a marked change. Of course, different circuits will suit the 197s or the 182s a little bit better, but equally some circuits will suit some drivers better than others as well. So maybe it's just that Snetterton is not his particular favoured layout. But nevertheless, he's going to be picking up useful points after that DNF last time out.
Because of course on drop scores, very much he is the man with the advantage.
Yes.
Where he's dropping a 1 basically for starting, where many more points being dropped by Chris Lawrence at this stage, although obviously you don't drop scores at this stage. Chris Lawrence has been on the podium every time, so he may be dropping something like 20 points. So if Tim Bentley doesn't have any more DNFs, he's sort of in that better position. He's recaught Justin Griffiths again, so the gap sort of fluctuating, and now the battle of the 4th is on then. So Justin Griffiths ahead, the aerospace engineer from Shropshire. He's there in what is 4th position in this car. He's been racing for a couple of seasons. He did 182s before that, and this car is a 2010 car built by his newly created outfit, Hustle Motorsport. You can see that on the side of his car, and he's being chased then by Tim Bentley as they come out of Murray's to complete lap 5 with potentially 2 to go.
He's being hustled, isn't he, at the moment by that car of Tim Bentley just behind him. And they head off on to their 6th lap now with 3 minutes of the race left to go. It's very close between them. You can see the 182, a slightly smaller car, slightly lighter car than the 197. They do handle quite different, do have different strengths and weaknesses at each part of the circuit as well. No change in the orders. They round the Wilson hairpin and head down towards the left-hander at Palmer once again.
Tim Bentley has equalled the fastest lap, which is joint Jack Dwayne and Jack Kingsbury. So our 3 drivers on a 2 minutes 19.17. The grid for tomorrow's race set by the fastest laps. So if it stays as it is, 3 people will be tied on the pole position time.
Yeah, it's going to be cosy, isn't it?
It's the 1997 final Formula 1 round all over again.
Spanish Grand Prix, wasn't it? I think at Jerez, where it was so close, and Murray Walker on that occasion was certainly couldn't believe what he was seeing. But yes, we've got 3 of them. So unless someone can go faster in the remaining couple of laps, then that's what we're going to be faced with. I imagine it would be done on the order in which those times were set then. So it would be Dwayne, Kingsbury and Bentley in that order.
Should be, yes, absolutely. But quite a remarkable situation on a 3-mile circuit.
Yeah.
So brilliant stuff. And how much more equal can you get the 182s and the 197s than that?
Well, it just goes to prove, doesn't it? There's not a lot to choose between them. That's the 32 car of Matthew Orcutt, who's in 12th place, just ahead of Paul Clark, who we mentioned earlier on in the race. So they're disputing 12th and 13th positions at the moment. They're about to head on to the Bentley straight as we're watching battles further. That's the battle for 9th and 10th that we're seeing now. We're going to get a change, are we? Alex Kilby up the inside of Lewis Richardson into Brundle, and he's gone through. So number 85, Alex Kilby, gets ahead of the Fuse Metrics car of Lewis Richardson now, and up into 9th place, ahead of Richardson, the driver from Milton Keynes, and the SR Motorsport car that he built himself, apart from the engine and the roll cage. But he's just lost out there to Kilby, as the leaders are going to go on to their final lap of the race now. Jack Dwayne and Jack Kingsbury now separated by 3/4 of a second, I can see, out of our commentary box window, as this battle for 9th continues.
Yeah, that's right. Just a bit further up the order, Ben Swift is 7th now. He's got past Darren Ransom, so his progress has been very strong. Here are the leaders. Gap is 3/4 of a second between Jack Dwayne and Jack Kingsbury. Same order behind. Apart from that change between Swift and Ransom. There is Justin Griffiths still ahead of Tim Bentley, who looks to the outside. So they come down in towards Palmer, the left-hander. Justin Griffiths telling me this morning that that Hustle Motorsport brand that he's put together, he's hoping to run some cars in the championship next season as well. So he's not going far from the paddock, even if he's going to be racing elsewhere, hopefully in hot hatches next season. But there he is, just ahead of Tim Bentley, down towards the left-hander at Hamilton. Really quick corner this. So battle for 4th and 5th positions. Interesting dilemma really for Tim Bentley, because he doesn't really want to risk anything. He won't gain any extra points by making the pass there. And as we're on to the last lap, he's not really got any likelihood of getting a faster lap time. So 5th position it is for now. He's just ahead of Ollie Wayne, just behind the RAF engineer, who started racing 4 seasons ago. And this battle behind between Alex Kilby and Lewis Richardson continues on. Lewis Richardson, the teenager, behind. And Tim Bentley there was looking to the inside of Justin Griffiths, wasn't he, into the left-hander at Brundle. And well, on the final lap, so Jack Dwayne looking set to take his 3rd overall victory of the season. He didn't win at Silverstone, but he won at Brands Hatch, he won at Croft, and he looks set to win at Snetterton too.
He does so be a 3-time winner, and he's heading into Murray's for the final time now. No mistakes there, that's good to see. So he's going to head home. His namesake, Jack Kingsbury, out of the final corner. They have come then up towards the line. The checkered flag is readied, and there we go. So Jack Dwayne, a winner again in the K-Tec Racing Clio Sport Championship, from Jack Kingsbury in 2nd place, Chris Lawrence 3rd, Justin Griffiths 4th, Tim Bentley 5th, and Ollie Waynes in 6th.